service announcement, aka PSA, about the poor air quality in our communities, and that we need to do something to make our air clean. Yeah. We gotta save the earth. We gotta make a change. Something is in the air, making me feel strange. Come on, I'll take a stand. What are we gonna do? We need to address it now. It starts with me and you. We gotta save the earth. We gotta make a change. Something is in the air, making me feel strange. Come on, I'll take a stand. What are we gonna do? Need to address it now. Starts with me and you. We are mighty shades of ebony. Back at it again. This is our PSA. Run and tell your friends. Mighty shades of ebony. Back at it again. This is our PSA. Run and tell your friends. Yeah. To be more particular, it has our lungs. Clunky particulars, then asthma comes. Unhealthy air, affects our welfare. No Paris agreement is better health care. We live in a city where asthma's king. Carbon monoxide and something that stinks. We have a factory right down the street. Particles gas to be level these things. Lower regulations so they can make a buck. We suffer a lot. Do you care about us? This is our song about air quality. We made this dope flow so that we could be at peace. Particulate matter all through outer city streets. Here's a PSA from MSC. Let us breathe. Now here's a little lesson for the masses. Air is a mixture of invisible gases. Particles of water with mostly nitrogen. CO2 argue with the blend of oxygen. We need clean air, not carcinogens. No more power plants or diesel engines. Regulate your planes, cars and trucks. Industrial chemicals, oils and dust. We gotta save the earth. We gotta make a change. Something is in the air, making me feel strange. Come and I'll take a stand. What are we gonna do? We need to adjust it now. And it starts with me and you. We gotta save the earth. We gotta make a change. Something is in the air, making me feel strange. Come and I'll take a stand. What are we gonna do? Need to address it now. Starts with me and you. Air so polluted that I can hardly breathe. I can't even see what's right in front of me. The gray smog is stuck in my throat. The pollution in the air makes me choke. Can't play in the park when I breathe, it hurts. Those are the days on high alert, let us breathe. So polluted, I can't hardly breathe. I can't even see what's right in front of me. The air's so polluted, I can't hardly breathe. Can't even see what's right in front of me. Let us breathe. 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 Thank you, everybody.
Let's hear it for the Mighty Shades of Ebony. You guys are wonderful. So many performances around the city. Wonderful job on the lyrics. Telling the truth. We appreciate you. You know, thankfully, more and more people are talking about climate and the need to be responsible about climate. So we appreciate our young leaders making sure that we're putting that at the front of everything we do. So, and you know, they wanted to go first. They were scheduled to go last at the press conference, but they said they wanted to go first. You know why? They said we need to get back to school. So we appreciate your all's educational priorities as well. As they take off, one last round of applause for the Mighty Shades of Ebony. Well, thanks, everybody, for coming out today. I see Councilman Bill Hollander over here. So, Bill, thank you. If there's something good going on, Bill's usually right in the middle of it. So thank you, Councilman. We appreciate you. So as I said, today we're unveiling an innovative project that combines art, science, and exercise, specifically cycling. It's called Bike Sense. And Bike Sense is a unique project that combines data collection with public service and public art. So the way it works, it uses 100 sensor units that fit into a volunteer cyclist water bottle holder. Data is collected about the cyclist's speed and location, as well as the temperature and air quality. That data is going to be publicly available, will be translated into music, into a unique soundscape that can be heard here on the Big Four Bridge and then over the project website as well. So this is another example of using what we call citizen scientists, also known as volunteers, who help collect data. So you've seen this in our community with the groundbreaking work of Air Louisville, and then now with the Green Heart Project as well. That's a globally relevant project with many partners, including the Nature Conservancy. So like a lot of our projects, as we learn, we are going to improve. So Bike Sense will be constantly evolving. The sounds heard on the Big Four Bridge will change with the temperature, air quality, and the speed and location of the volunteer cyclists using the sensors. Bike Sense will collect new data about our climate and promote cycling, which obviously is an alternative option to cars. The more cars we can keep off the road, the safer our roads are, the cleaner our air is. So this is obvious to people. This is also a top priority of our Move Louisville plan to reduce the total number of vehicle miles driven in our community. I want to recognize Mary Ellen Wiederwall, who was on top of the Move Louisville plan with Louisville Forward, so thank you and the Louisville Forward team for that. We're just trying to elevate people's consciousness any way that we can to make our roads safer, our air cleaner, and this obviously is one of the ways that we do this. It obviously also provides a good workout, increases cardiovascular fitness, muscles, and flexibility, and it lowers stress levels, and it's emission-free. So it's a good thing to do. I get trouble from some people from time to time because they don't like me to talk about bikes and bike lanes. That is kind of not a very forward-looking way to look at what we need in terms of air quality and fitness and road safety as well. So we're going to always embrace cycling and encourage more cycling, not just in our city, but if you go to cities all over the world, you see that type of movement taking place. So let's get with it, Louisville, with our cycling. We hope this Bike Sense gets even more residents involved in more ways and gets them more excited about cycling and being healthier. Who can argue with that? This data is going to be available for public use. Dr. Ted Smith will speak a little bit later about how University of Louisville's Christina Lee Brown Envirome Institute will use the data compiled as part of the Bike Sense Art Project to further the great work that the Center for Enviromics is doing in their emerging field of environmental medicine, something that Louisville will be known for all around the world. A lot of folks have come together to make this happen. I want to thank the Waterfront Development Corporation, private donors who've made this possible, the Commission on Public Art. Sarah Lindgren's here. I want to thank her for the great work that she does. Thank you, Sarah. The Develop Louisville team, including Public Art Administrator Sarah Lindgren that I just said there. Thank you. The volunteer cyclists, and then we'll be hearing from our artist Todd Smith here in a second. So, folks, let's start the speakers. We're going to hear from Todd Smith, Deborah Belitsky, and then Ted Smith. So first up, let's hear it from our artist, Todd Smith. Todd.
Thank you, Mayor Fisher. Thank you all for coming out. It's an honor to have so many people involved with this project that started over 3 years ago in a little cafe in Cusco, Peru. I just so happened to be there after finishing grad school, and Sarah Lindgren had emailed me and asked if I had heard of the Art Moves Louisville art call, and I knew the deadline was coming, so I took a little time at a cafe before I hiked to Machu Picchu, and I thought about all those hours. I searched the city to climb trees, which I did for many, many years, but I did so on bike a lot, and I got to see so much of Louisville, and I always kept asking, how do they design these routes? What data are they using to help create the plan? And I thought, how could I help? So I devised this project to have volunteer cyclists track data that I could ultimately give back to the city and say, here's some more information, here's some health impacts, here's some actual places that people are going, and hopefully it'll improve. To make all this happen, there have been so many people involved that Mayor Fisher has already mentioned. Just the fact that he is so supportive of the arts and innovation has allowed this project to happen, as well as Sarah Lindgren from the Commission on Public Art and the committee that voted for this project, as well as my designer, my engineer, David Dressner, who is currently in Pittsburgh. I partnered with him really early on, and just through the course of talking monthly, we've become very close through those small moments of sharing our lives between planning this huge project. To my wife, Natalie, who's been a support with many pep talks along the way, and other close friends who have been there as volunteers, as just shoulders to lean against, and through this very long process. And of course, all those community members who donated their money, the Fund for the Arts that helped organize that, and then LG&E and KU Energy that matched those donations to make this even more possible. Last night, I was on the bridge and I heard the sound live for the first time, and just took a moment as the sun was setting, and I didn't cry, but I had that, this is real, this is really happening, and I really appreciate everyone coming out here and supporting this project, and I really am curious to see what happens in this next year. So visit the bridge and visit often, and thank you guys so much. Yes, we have volunteers here.
Some of the volunteers are here, is that correct, that are going to be Bike Sense volunteers?
Don't be shy.
Yeah. Okay, would you all come up here, please? Let's have you as part of this here. Let's welcome our Bike Sense volunteers, citizen scientists. Thank you guys very much. Gretchen Milliken is one, works for the city. Thank you so much. Kind of evening out back here, so we got a good shot for the. Gretchen, can you do a little evening out back here so we got a good shot for our. Thank you. Kristen Boone, thank you, Executive Director of Fund for the Arts. Appreciate your all's contribution into this program. This is pretty cool. You know, like we got our chief data scientist for the city, Michael Schnurl, is here. I just saw him in the back. Oh, he's also a volunteer, too. Does it all. So we're get a chief data scientist. We're bringing together art in the community. We're bringing, of course, this wonderful place. Waterfront Development Corporation is the front door to the entire community and is beloved by so many people. And having the honor to represent that as the president of Waterfront Development Corporation, please welcome Deborah Belitsky.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here. And, you know, it never ceases to amaze me, this creativity of people. And this project in particular, just the creativity of bringing together arts and innovation and technology and recreation in this unique display that now can be experienced by the public as well. It's just so unique, and we're so excited to have it here at Waterfront Park. This is the best place and the only place we think that is proper and fitting for a project like this. Waterfront Park is not just a place. It's a living, breathing, changing, dynamic experience with over 2.2 million visitors every year and over 150 events every year. And all of this is made possible by park supporters like you, and we really appreciate that. At Waterfront Park, we have a tradition of embracing public art, as many of you know. We've got sculptures in the park. We have the Flock of Finns. We have the Lincoln Memorial at Hamilton's piece. And, you know, we are excited to continue that tradition. And this project that we're launching today fits perfectly and seamlessly into that. We're also the community's gathering space. We're not anybody's park, we're everybody's park. And so we appreciate this partnership, and we'd like to thank the artist TODD Smith for bringing it to us. So now with Bike Sense, it's where you can experience this intersection of arts and innovation, and it ties in so nicely with our project that we're working on in collaboration with the Science Center in Phase 4, which we recently announced, Playworks at Waterfront Park, which is also sort of an experiential learning that integrates science and recreation all in a learning, fun, open to the public, welcoming environment. We look forward to this and more experiences that we can incorporate to enhance the experience in the park. Please visit us often and so that you can experience bike sense and all the other exciting things that we have to offer in the park. And with that, I think, am I turning it back to the mayor or am I introducing? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Official congratulations. I think this is the first press conference we've done since you're the president of Waterfront Development Corporation. So a lot of people happy about that. And a hat tip to David Karam as well. All right. So next up is the first Chief Civic Innovation Officer in the history of America, Ted Smith, Dr. Ted Smith. Gave 5 years of great public service to the city. This concept of the Civic Innovation Officer now you see all over cities in the state, but Ted was the first person to pioneer that work. And his work on innovation continues. He is now the director of the Center for Healthy Air and Water, Soil, and Superfund Research at the University of Louisville's Christina Lee Brown Envirome Institute. So the Air Louisville Project, the Green Heart Project, and many other of the incredibly powerful innovation projects in our city have been spearheaded by Ted Smith. We're lucky to have him as one of our fellow citizens. Please welcome Ted Smith.
Well, good afternoon. It is just a wonderful privilege to be here today. As the mayor mentioned, I've been a pioneer, which means I have the arrows in my back. So about, 7 years ago, we attempted as a city an ambitious project to put air monitors out in our community, have citizen scientists kind of use those air monitors. We learned a lot, and I think the big lesson that I learned is always find an artist, because there's a limited group that really just wants to talk about technology, but if you have the privilege of working with somebody like TODD, it really does open up your eyes to a new way to approach a subject. And the subject here is obviously our air quality, and it's something I'm certainly passionate about. And the reason I'm here today is to lend our support from the University of Louisville, Christina Lee Brown Envirome Institute, for the work in this project. And it's fun to have a project come from the Commission for Public Art and from Waterfront Development and all these wonderful, unusual places for research projects to come from for the university. But Todd's been a wonderful partner, and when we saw the announcement, I reached out and said, hey, what kind of air monitor are you using? And we had a geeky conversation about air monitors, and we ended up discovering that we were long-lost soulmates, because he was also interested in volatile organic compounds. And as a community, I welcome you to a journey with us to get to know our new friends, the volatile organic compounds. So we have two major research centers inside of the Envirome Institute. One is called the Superfund Research Center, which is funded by the National Institutes of Health, which, as the name suggests, is focused on the dangers that Superfund sites present to human health. And the focus for the University of Louisville in the Superfund program is to study VOCs, volatile compounds. And so it was just perfect timing to hear that somebody was in the community really trying to engage with everybody in an accessible way, using art as the language to talk about something that really only organic chemists enjoy talking about. And that's been a wonderful gift to us at the university. The second piece, and my colleague Lauren Anderson is here from the Center for Healthy Air, Water, and Soil. We are very, very motivated to meet with some of the young people that opened up the act today, all the way through people that are at a point in their life where they can lend a hand because their working years may be behind them and they're ready to work for our city. So we want to embrace that whole range of folks to be involved in projects like this. And I'll make one last plug for the brave volunteers. There's a subset of the 100 who are cycling, and they've agreed to help us raise awareness for volatile compounds in West Louisville. And so there's a section of the Louisville Loop, the West Louisville Loop, which I believe we're aiming for 30 folks with the Cycle Bike Sense program to bike the West Louisville Loop, so we can raise awareness for VOCs in that part of our community. So we're really excited about that. It's great to make this part of a national conversation around these kinds of air toxics. and we really look forward to joining such an esteemed group of partners in this project. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Ted. All right, so in closing, I mean, think about the range of people that are engaged with this project. JCPS, with the Mighty Shades of Ebony, to our PhD program at the University of Louisville, to our artist community, to our cyclist community, our Center for Health Equity community, our data science community. So obviously when people might look at this and say, this is kind of unusual, it's kind of weird, I don't get it. You know, what you need to get is how air quality impacts everybody. And we're bringing in all these folks that really, when you think about it, these are not unusual places, right? They're all affected by this. So the more we can raise our consciousness as a city as to the importance of healthy air, water, and soil, being responsible about climate, that's a good day for our city. So we're really looking forward to the results of the Bike Sense project. So now, to close this out, Todd's going to come back and show you one of the water bottle sensors and explain again how it works. So Todd Smith.
Okay, so Mary Beth, one of my amazing volunteers, let me borrow her sensor, which lives in a simple plastic bottle. There are buttons on the top that allow you to interact with your sensor to turn it on and turn it off, to check your battery level. And there is a red emergency button, which I stressed is not going to contact 911. It is just going to put a blip on the map saying that you had a close call or dangerous situation. Maybe a car came too close or you got knocked off your bike. And with the hope, with 100 volunteers or more over a whole year, we might see some hot spots around town that really need some safety identification and fixing, as well as the sensor underneath the lid that is taking temperature. It's taking VOC or air quality reading, and it's also that GPS is recording where that temperature happened and where that air quality happened. It's going to take that reading every 20 feet as you bike, and every time that data point happens, it gets stored securely in the cloud and then interpreted into sound on bikesense.net, which is the home for the project. If you go to bikesense.net/audio, the sound is live there, and it's playing on the center of the Big Four Bridge, who I did not thank enough for the Waterfront Development Corporation and Waterfront Park for giving this project the perfect home. This would not be a project without the Big Four. So thank you so much. Please go check it out. It is live. That means if you hear sound, some amazing volunteer is out there biking and taking data for the city. And if you hear a very peculiar sound, it means someone's hitting the emergency button. So pray for them. Hope they have a safe return home because they're getting data for the future of Louisville. So thank you all for coming out again and being a part of this project.
All right, thanks, Todd. And there's signs up on the Big Four Bridge that explain the project, so when people hear these different sounds, they'll understand what's going on. So that's part of the project as well. So I just want to thank everybody for coming out. If there's individual questions, maybe they can be handled in the shade over there. It's a little sunny today. But thanks this multitude of organizations and people that have come together to really create a project that's going to be looked at from all over the world, given the unique nature of it. So you all take care. Have a good day. Thanks, everybody, for coming out.